Broken Heart Academy short story by JameliaAlicia. It all started with one man, multiple stories delivered by different women over the course of the century. In this academy, only a group of 5 women were selected to deliver their unique stories of heartbreak. It did not just happen automatically, they were selected from different sections of life. One woman, named Sydney, aged 19 years of age, experienced heartbreak that ripped her into pieces and nearly cost her own life. The man she dated for 3 years nearly led her to death. He even confessed he wanted her dead, and her existence did not matter. She was considered dead to him. This led her down a brick of depression and suicidal thoughts. With the help of Sydney's mum, she discovered the secret society of the Broken Heart Academy located in the countryside of Britain. The location was anonymous and no one knew except the selectees of this year. A woman named Rose, aged 30, from Birmingham, who worked as a nurse in a hospital for elderly people, volunteered herself into the secret society after discovering her husband had a gun in his house. It was considered illegal for anyone to have a gun in the UK, and yet he kept one. After interrogating him, she discovered that he wanted to kill her and threatened that she would be unable to see her own children. Rose had no choice. She needed to leave and act now. In the midst of the passion of a woman named Eileen, aged 23, who lived in London, she decided to kill her own husband out of self-defense, because in bed, he willingly wanted to strangle her, so she had no choice but to save herself and kill him. Victoria, aged 50, from Dublin, Ireland, decided to forfeit the marriage to her husband by using evidence in court of her own ownership of her home. Victoria won the case, but she knew her story needed to be by the Academy. Victoria was selected through a secret note sent through the post. Valerie, aged 40, from Bristol in Britain, who works as an accountant in a finance bank corporation, split from her husband this year and wanted to become a rebel in the pursuit of another lover. And yes, the story begins. In the abandoned cathedral of Broken Heart Academy are a group of 4 women wearing coal-black robes and hoodies that cover their faces. Sydney whispered, "What is this? A cult? Oh, fuck. Broken Heart Academy." "You just realized," Rose whispered to Sydney, as the broken chairs made a screeching sound that sounded like the side of the haunted doors opening slowly. Eileen, Victoria, and Valerie looked at the women in the robes and looked at each other. One of them responded, "Are you going to say or do something? What the fuck is this?" Victoria shouted. "Nope, our job is for you to wait your turn," replied one of the women in black robes. She revealed herself and stared at all of the women sitting on the chairs. "No, hello, how are you? Where are your manners?" The woman in the robe, named Teresa, replied sarcastically. "Oh, hello, I'm Sydney, and you are?" Sydney said. "I'm Teresa. Nice to meet you, Sydney. All of you women are named Eileen, Victoria, Rose, Valerie," Teresa said. The room fell silent. A second went by, and Teresa and the rest of the women in the robes instructed the women on what to do in the academy. There was no school or university. This was a society that was about fixing women from heartbreak, if they can be fixed. Deep within the barriers of the men's downfall were circles of stories of what the women experienced. Every story was added and intertwined. Words spoken were kept guarded under the protection of Teresa and the women in the robes. This was not about revenge. This was about justice. Eileen, one of the women, mentioned, "You took my heart and soul, the ability to see the beauty within myself and others like an unknown force trying to consume me. Yet you survived and decided to join this world of the broken-hearted," said one of the women in the robes. Their faces were still unrevealed to the women. "I survived, and yet many women out there are completely dead, without any justice," Valerie said.
I had the choice, and I decided to kill him. Without my defense, I would be dead in the grave, a lost story without forgiveness for the generation to see my strength," said Eileen. "I proved my ownership of my household through court documents, which proved I was the one who was in charge of the house. He could have taken everything, and I didn't let him, because I had the mind of a resilient woman," said Victoria. "I prayed that the relationship would end when I was with him. Over time, the prayers gave me wisdom and knowledge of how much I wanted to fight for my existence," said Sydney. "Yet I rose when the truth was right in front of me," said Rose. "We did, you did," Sydney said. The clocks changed and stopped. All of the women in the robes revealed themselves. One by one, they took each of the women into a room, taught them the art of broken heart weaponry, and how their lies, our evidence, became the men's downfall in the end. This was not a lesson in how to be an assassin. This was a lesson in how to use a broken wound as your weapon in the eyes of defeat, how each victory of a woman's story brought more truth to the light of their nature. In the folders of each found document and past evidence, there was an answer of discipline in accepting what happened and automatically disposing of it as not needed. A military action. Yes, a way to survive. Yes, a way to come out winning. Each woman in this story was a winner, and soon their lives will change when they become assassins of their own story, when the law of ordinary life become their weapons. Beneath it all, meaning was founded. Pain was the answer for strength, and each of these women will know by the end of it all what badass truly means.